Hi, my name is Ahmad Fidaus bin Hadrashaimi. My metric number is 01DDT23AF1080 and this is Pspd Pbe 3. Question 1. Based on figure 1, identify and expand the following element in the programming code given. The code is to the left here. So, A. Comment. B. Preprocessor directive. C. Standard header file. D. Main function. E. Reserved word. F. Identifier. G. Special symbol. H. Punctuation. I. Statement. And J. Blocks. Now let's move on to the comment. The comment in C are a human readable explanation or notes in the source code of a C program. A comment makes the program easier to read and understand. Comment won't be executed by the compiler or an interpreter. Commenting is a good practice to document a process. Example of a comment: double/, single line comment, /* is a multi-line comment and must end with */. Now the comment in figure 1 is /, program to display personal information. Preprocessor directive. Preprocessor directive are lines included in the program that begin with the character hashtag, which make them different from a typical source code text. They are invoked by the compiler to process some programs before compilation. Preprocessor directives change the text of the source code and the result is a new source code without this directive. All type of preprocessor directive is #define, #include, #if, #else, #ifdef, #elif, #undef, #inif, #if and def, #error, #pragma. So the preprocessor directive in figure 1 is #include. Main function. Every C program has a primary function that must be named main. The main function serves as the starting point for program execution. It is usually control program execution by directing the calls to other functions in the program. Example of main function is in main, as you can see there. Main function in figure 1 is in main at the top of the image. Moving on. Reserved word. In computer programming, a reserved word, also known as reserved identifier, is a word in a programming language that has a specific meaning. Additionally, it cannot be used as an identifier. It also cannot be redefined or used in any other way than the one intended by the language creator. Example of C reserved word: auto, break, case, car, const, continue, default, do. There is 3 types of reserved word in the image here, which is character, integer, cout. Moving on. Identifiers. Identifiers in C or any other language for that matter are just like names that help us recognize / identify various identities like function, variable, labels, user-defined data types, etc. It comprises a string of alphanumeric characters whose first character must either be in an alphabetic order or an underscore. Example of identifier is root, _get car, _sign, x1, x2. So the identifier in figure 1 is name and birth year. Now let's move on to special symbol. Special symbol to represent the basic arithmetic operation. Example of a special symbol is addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. Special symbol in figure 1 is subtraction. Now let's talk about punctuation. Every statement must end with a semicolon. Example of punctuation is return 0, then semicolon. So punctuation in figure 1, as we can see here, after the std there is a semicolon. Now let's move on to statement. Statement and instruction including input, output, process, and variable declaration. Example of statement is here in the image. Statement from figure 1 started from the top to the bottom. Last but not least, block. Block is an opening braces, open curly bracket, and closing bracket, close curly bracket of the function. Example of block is here to the left, which start with open curly bracket, then the code which is in x equal to 65 semicolon, then end with close curly bracket. So block is figure 1 is to the top here as the arrow indicates, and to the bottom which also the arrow indicates. Now let's move on to question 2. Based on figure 2, construct pseudocode and flowchart based on given programming code. Here to the left is the figure 2. So let's build a pseudocode first. So pseudocode must start with a start. So we'll put start, then set A to 100, set B to 200. If A equal to 100, if B equal to 200, output value of A is 100 and B is 200, and if. Then output exact value of A is plus A, output exact value of B is plus B, and. Now let's move on to the flowchart. Then we set A to 100, B to 200. Then there is a variable here, A equal to 100, which is yes. Then it will check again for B is equal to 100, which is yes. They will go to put value of A is 100 and B is 200. Then end. That's all for me. Thank you.